Hi everyone, welcome to the first of 3 lessons on using master pages to create digital planners and journals in Affinity Publisher for iPad. In this lesson, we're going to take a look at the basics of master pages and talk about how they work, and more importantly, how they can help you create your planners more efficiently. In the 2 follow-up lessons, we'll use master pages to create our planner layouts, both a closed cover and an open planner background. I've included chapter markers below so you can jump around as needed or refer back whenever you want to. As a reminder, this series is specific to the iPad, but for those of you on the desktop version, stay tuned. Are you ready? Let's get started. Master pages allow you to create one or more layouts a single time, and those layouts can then be tied to a range of pages or spreads. So picture a magazine spread. Multiple pages might have the exact same layout, but have different content on them. Master pages allow you to set the layout or background up one time and apply that layout to multiple pages in the magazine. The other benefit is it allows you to make adjustments to the master page in one place, and those adjustments are automatically applied to any pages or spreads tied to it. I'm going to use master pages to create multiple versions of my cover like you see here, as well as the backgrounds of my planner. Then I can apply individual foreground elements to the content pages themselves, or I can create additional masters that stack on top of one another. I'm also going to add margins and guides to the open planner using my master pages once they're created. I'm going to create a new document, and as a reminder from the previous lessons, I'm setting up a letter-sized document in portrait orientation. My document units are going to be in pixels. I am going to start with a default master. I do want facing pages because I want to create a side-by-side 2-page planner, but I'm going to start my pages on the right side so that I can have a single page for my closed cover. I'm going to start with 3 pages, and I'll add more as I go along. My color format is RGB because this is for screen only, not print, and I'm going to go to margins and bleeds and turn that off for right now because I'm going to set it up inside the document. Now before we continue, I just want to note that my screen is set up for a left-handed person. If yours is not, our tools and studios are simply opposite of one another, but everything works the same. You can access master pages under the Pages panel. If you ever can't locate a particular tool or studio, just click on the question mark here at the bottom and these labels will pop up. This panel is broken down into 2 parts, master pages and pages, which are the actual content pages, and you can flip between the 2 either by using the drop-down box here or the carrots on either side. Now you can see that I already have one master page in place because I chose default master as an option when I was creating my new document. I'm going to add at least one more in this lesson and then more as I go along. You can add a new master by tapping the plus sign at the top left of the panel. You can also duplicate a master page by selecting the one you want to duplicate and then hitting the second icon. Now in my case, my planner is going to have a single page, and you can see that's already here because I started my pages on the right. I want to create a master page that's one page only so that I can tie this page to it. So I'm going to take an additional step. Instead of just tapping on the plus sign, I'm going to tap and hold, and it's going to bring up this dialog box. I'll go ahead and name this cover, and I want to keep the dimensions the same, but I want to change my page layout. Remember, I don't want facing pages. I don't want side by side. I want a single page. So I'm going to change this to ambidextrous. That's going to reduce my pages to 1 and gray everything out, so I can click OK. Now I like to keep everything in the same order as my content pages, so I'm going to go to Manage Masters here at the bottom. I'll just grab this and I'm going to drag it in front of the other one. Now while you can't rename content pages or spreads, they'll always be page 1, 2, 3, and so on, you can rename master pages, and I definitely recommend it, especially when you're working on more complex projects or you have masters stacked on top of one another. You saw that I was able to name this top one when I created it, but if there's one already in place, the easiest way to rename it is to tap and hold on it, choose rename, and you can do that here. So I'm going to name this open background. Now finally, since I have added a new master page, I want to make sure that my content pages are tied to the correct ones. So I'm going to go to my pages here. Again, I just use the caret to move there. And there's a couple of ways that you can do this. The first is you can hold your finger down and bring up Apply Master. You can see that if I tap here, that's all of the ones available. I'm going to go ahead and click Cover. And I want to make sure that my specified pages in this case show 1, which it does. The other way that you can do this, and this is beneficial when you have more than one page, I'm going to go ahead and add a duplicate of this one so you can see what I'm talking about. Instead of tapping and holding your finger down, what you can do is go to Manage Pages, select the pages that you want, tap this icon, and you can change your master page here. So for these pages, I'm going to select Open Background. I'll just keep Replace Existing on there because I know that I want to replace it. And for specified pages, I want to make sure it shows 2 through 5, and I'll click OK. The next thing I want to do is set up my margins and some guides, as those are going to carry through to the pages that are tied to them. I'm going to set up my margins and guides so I can save this as a template and use it for planners that are either bound with a crease or have binder rings. I could create separate templates, but in my case, the guides tend to work the same and I can always adjust them as needed whenever I create a new document. I'd rather manage one document than multiple. Now, I'm not going to set anything up for my single cover here, so I'm going to tap to make sure that I have the open background selected, and you can see that I have a gray box around it when it is selected. And that's something to note whenever you're working on either a master or even the pages themselves. Make sure that you select the page first before you add anything, because even if you see it here, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the one that's active. So I'm going to go back to my masters. I'll go ahead and select that, and you can see it brought it into my work area. I'm going to head up to the top right here to the preview mode icon, and you can tap to turn margins on and off. Right now I don't have any set. I'm going to go to the right and choose guides setting. This is where I can set guides as well as my margins. So I'm going to go right down here to the bottom, and I'll tap the eyeball. I want to use margins that show where my paper goes, regardless of what type of planner I create. So in the case of the bound book, the margins will take into account the crease down the middle as well as the shadows created from the page bend. And in the case of the binder rings, it's going to help me set the edges of the paper so it's sitting correctly under the rings. For my inner margin, where my binder rings or crease will go, I'm going to key in 30 pixels. Now you can see I have this locked, which means it changed everything. So I'm going to tap to unlock that. For the outer, where I'll have hyperlinked tabs on the sides, I'm going to choose 150, and that's going to be the outer for both sides because I'm going to animate my tabs so that when I have something selected, it's going to go over to the other side when it's selected. I'm going to key in 120 for the top. I am going to have tabs there, but I'm going to make them slightly shorter because I want to make sure I have plenty of workspace. And for the bottom, I'm going to keep it set to 30 because I'm not going to add any elements down here and I'd rather leave room for working space. I'm also going to change the color of the guides so that I can better see them. So I'll just change it to this red color and just tap that, and now you can see that. You can also toggle it on here at the top. Now, in addition to margins, we can also set up guides for additional support. Because I'm setting this up so that I can either use it for a bound book or one with binder rings, I'm going to set up some guides down the center where the paper is going to edge past the inner margin so that it sits under the binder rings or just past the shading from the crease. This is going to give me something to snap my content to, as well as make sure that both sides are where I want them to be. So up here at the top, I'm going to tap to add a vertical guide. And under position, the first one I'm going to do is to the right. I'm going to add 200. And then I'll tap to add another one. And this time I'm going to do minus 200. I want to create 4 guides on the sides of my planner, 2 on the left and 2 on the right. The first guide is going to be where my paper stack ends. So I'm going to add a vertical guide, and I want to set that to 100. That's actually on the left side here. So I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. And this time I'm going to key in 5,000. The second set is going to be a bit further out from those and give me a point to snap the edges of my tabs to. So for the left side, I'm going to add a vertical and I'm going to key in 30. And then for the right side, I'll add a vertical, and this time I'll key in 5,070. And these are just measurements that I've come up with. You can come up with whatever works for your planner. I want to add a single horizontal guide to the top, and that's going to give me a place to snap my tabs to. So I'll go ahead and hit horizontal, and this one is going to be set to 15. Now, one thing you're going to notice is that I favor space for content over aesthetics. I allow enough room for the planner to be visible, but only just enough where I know that it's going to have content. However you set your margins up is entirely up to you. I would just think ahead to the type of planner you want to create and how much space you want to allot for content. One final thing I'm going to do is change the color of something that separates it from the margins. So I'm just going to set it to this red color. If you need to change any or all of your margins and guides, all you need to do is double tap on one of them and this dialog box will pop up. Otherwise, you can go up to the contextual menu and choose the menu on the right side. With the master pages, margins, and guides all set up, I'm ready to begin building both my closed cover and my open background, which I'm going to do over the next 2 lessons. If you have any questions about what you've learned here in this lesson, please don't hesitate to let me know below. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.